Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to call number one of Ho Hum. We're going to go from ho hum to hallelujah. Before we do, though, I wanted Kristen to just make a couple of announcements that we want to have before we start the process. Why don't you jump in, Kristen, and give us some announcements?
You betcha. Before I jump into the announcements, will you just double check all your dials on your sound? You don't sound as good as you usually do. Just do
and how about now? Is it better that I've just turned it up like that?
No, yeah, Linda's confirming. It's a little echoey. Yeah, it's maybe a little reverby.
Okay, well, here's the good news. What if I turn it like that? Is it better like that when I turn that down?
No.
No?
Nope.
I thought it was better originally.
Okay, well, there we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna just move it like that.
That's better.
That's better right there. Okay.
Everybody, we're getting lots of nods. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that.
Awesome.
Good. All right, take it away, and then we're gonna get started.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time to be here. As Matthew said, we're absolutely stoked to be offering this course. It's been years and years and years since we've slotted this into the things that we do. And so thank you for saying yes and for giving us the gift of your time. I just want to reiterate one thing about how we do our online training. It's interesting, when COVID hit, the whole world kind of came to us. We've been doing online trainings. This is how we've been delivering for years and years and years. And so it was really fun when everybody suddenly came into the Zoom world. We loved it. One thing I do want to share is that we are very intentional about pricing our programs per person. And our philosophy over here at Matthew Ferry International is that we offer our courses one person per seat. Like you would go to an online college course, or you would go and buy a movie ticket. It's one ticket, one person. I wanted to point that out because if you have a need that you'd like to do a couples thing or you'd like to do a group thing, we are completely open to that. And if that's a pricing structure that you would be interested in knowing more about, hit me up, send an email to send it to mferry@matthewferry.com if that's something that would be helpful for you. I wanted to point out because we do have a couple that has joined us for this program. Zan and Bill are with us, and I just wanted to clarify for anybody that had any questions. They are registered with 2 seats, and they're joining us with 1 camera. So I just want to make sure that everybody was on the same page.
2 seats, 1 camera. All right.
That's
well, I'm
Hi guys.
Video. You ready? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's rock.
All right, let's get this thing done. I'm going to hit the pin. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is official. We are starting. So if you don't know me, which would be completely insane that you don't, but my name is Matthew Ferry, and I'm going to be hosting tonight. You were just hearing from Kristen, and you could think of me in our little structure. I'm like the talent, and she's the business builder, sort of leader of the company. We like to call her the supreme commander. So this is session 1 of the new webinar series, completely redone for 2023, Ho Hum to Hallelujah, 8 steps to manifest what you really want in 2023. And I just want to congratulate you on making this investment. And it's an investment of time and an investment of money in yourself, in your own development. I want you to know that you have my word that you're not going to regret that. In fact, I'm going to propose you're going to look back on these 8 weeks that we're going to spend together, and you are going to say, holy manifestation, Batman. That was the beginning. That's when it all changed. It changed the trajectory of my life. And so many of like longtime friends and clients are on with us right now. I see you. Hi. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Matthew, it was the 8 steps 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago. It changed the trajectory of my life, and I'm ready for more. And I just want you to know, I'm ready for more too. Now, the 8-step manifesting process is really just about becoming harmonious with what you want so that what you want starts to manifest. And I hope you're ready to have that happen because it's going to start to go bonkers here. Now, I know you've heard of the law of attraction, and you've probably used it in your own life. And what we're going to do now is move beyond it. We're going to move beyond it so that I can help you to get the results that you've been dreaming about, like the big stuff. And here's why. The law of attraction, the idea of it is actually very unreliable. And if you examine it, if you step back, what you start to see is there's no actual need to learn the law of attraction, because the law of attraction is actually just a concept. It's just an idea. It's like an illusion, really. It's just your mind trying to explain why your dreams and your desires manifest in miraculous ways. So we came up with a label for that. But you don't need to know why apple trees grow. You just create the conditions. You create the conditions for the apple tree to grow, and then you harvest the benefit of creating those conditions. So you don't have to learn how to attract things that you want. Will you write this idea for me down, please? Which is manifestation is an emergence. Manifestation is an emergence. If everyone could mute themselves, that'd be great. Raymond, I just muted you because there was a bunch of sound. If everybody could mute themselves, that'd be really, really great. And then as we participate and collaborate, then you can jump in and unmute yourself. Manifestation is an emergence. Manifestation is nature. The things that you want are the creative force in the universe emerging. It's nature emerging. New ideas, new realities, new. All it is it's just this emergence of this background field of energy and information that is pervasive throughout the entire universe. You are the things you want. You are the things you want. The things that you want are you. So there's nothing to freak out about. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be fearful about. You are the background field of energy and information. You are the expression of that energy and information emerging. Your ideas, that's just creating. You are what is being created. Your goals and dreams are what is being created. Everybody write this down. What I want wants me because it is me. What I want wants me because it is me. You can think of it like this. It's always going your way, even when it's not. And you don't have enough scope, enough vision to understand how things are progressing and manifesting into reality. None of us do. The key is to surrender and to get into inspired action. Because when you resist, you suffer. And when you suffer, you slow down the process. And if I'm being really honest, sometimes your suffering is exactly what you need. It's what is required to discover how to stop resisting. So sometimes resistance is perfect. It slows things down, but even that's perfect. But I'm going to assume that you're hanging out with me and Kristen on this training because you're ready to stop resisting. I'm going to assume that you're ready to stop making yourself wrong, that you're going to stop being doubtful and fearful and angry and upset and making life wrong and people wrong and this wrong and that wrong. Resistance. I'm just going to assume that, which means that the emergence of your goals and your dreams are about to speed up, lickety split. The 8 steps are really about alignment. They're about alignment with the potential creations that make you happy. That's really what it is. It's about removing, will you write down these words? Opposing intentions. Opposing intentions. So you might think of opposing intentions like your survival intentions oppose your thriving intentions, but both intentions are you. Like there's a giant clump of what you are that is survival. And then there's a giant clump of what you are that is thriving and creative. And what happens is they start to emerge at the same time, and your survival intentions begin to oppose your thriving intentions. Over the next 8 weeks, you're going to learn to be harmonious, harmonious in such a way that these opposing intentions dissolve. And what's left is your intention to thrive. No resistance. Your survival intentions are going to become irrelevant. And that's a pretty awesome place, because when they're irrelevant, there's nothing to resist. So additionally, you're going to practice being at peace with what you have now. And that's a practice. And you're going to practice being eager for more, which activates thriving. So to reduce the opposing survival intentions, you practice accepting the situation exactly as it is. Then to increase the energy for your thriving intentions, you begin to become eager for more. So you accept this, and then you become eager for more. And then you accept this, and then you become eager for more. And then you honor and appreciate this, and then you become eager for more. And when you do that, it's ridiculous what happens. The 8-step process. Maria, I'm just going to mute you over there so that we can not have it come in. So the 8-step process is really about allowing, knowing, and trusting. Will you write those words down for me, please? Allowing, knowing, and trusting. Trusting that what you want is coming. And all there is to do is to open the door of your mind and let it in. Can you just take a deep breath in with me right now and just say to yourself, what I want is coming. I'm going to let it in. What I want is coming. I'm just going to let it in. Now, hold your horses on that, because I'm not being literal, okay? I'm not being literal. It's a metaphor when I say that you're going to let it in, that what I want is coming, you're going to let it in. That's a metaphor for being at peace with all that is around you and surrendering to the creative force as it manifests through you. That's going to take training and practice, because the creative force is very destructive. The creative force is very disruptive to your life. And the possibility of you resisting is extremely high. So what you want wants you, it's coming through. But when it does come through, it's going to take some practice to be at peace. So essentially, this idea of what I want is coming and I'm going to let it in is really a metaphor. It's just a metaphor. And the 8 steps help you to live that metaphor, that training and that practice to let, quote, let them in. Now, over the past few decades, for me, I've come to understand the principles of manifesting through personal experimentation. Essentially, I have been like the crash test dummy for manifesting. And I did tons and tons and tons of work with someone that you may also know, my buddy Thatch. Thatch Wynn and I, we did everything together to try and figure out this process of manifesting. Plus, on top of that, I've worked with thousands of clients on a daily basis, one-on-one or in small groups, to manifest their dreams. And I will tell you that probably like you, I've been angry at the law of attraction. I don't know about you, but I've sat there and just thought to myself, like, WTF, right? Has God given up on me? How come everybody else is getting stuff? Everything else is working out for everybody else is not working out for me. But I've also, probably like you, manifested some pretty amazing things. Some recording contracts, a beautiful wife like Kristen, free cars, free trips, pianos, guitars, money, opportunities, being invited to VIP parties, shifting my children's behaviors, shifting my clients' behaviors, changing the way that people relate to me in the world. All of that was done through the manifesting process. All of that was done through the 8 steps that we're going to talk about. And in the end, it really wasn't the law of attraction that made any of that stuff happen. It was a fundamental shift. It was a set of principles that invoked what we all label as the magical law of attraction. But ultimately, you're going to create the conditions that are conducive to your dreams coming true. Conditions. Will you write this down, please? Manifesting is about creating conditions. Manifesting is about creating conditions. It's like growing an apple tree. You create the conditions for the apple tree to grow, and then you get to enjoy the apples. So together, over these 8 weeks, we're going to cultivate states of acceptance, non-resistance, honoring, appreciating, eagerness, curiosity, joy, wonder. These are spiritual states. And they're spiritual states that are conducive to manifesting your goals with less effort. And less effort really just means efficient. Most of the time, our efforts are inefficient. And the reason being is just write down inefficiency. Inefficiency is a function of resistance. Inefficiency is a function of resistance. So it's like you have these opposing intentions. It's like, I am creating this, but I'm afraid of that. And they oppose each other, and it makes it inefficient. So instead of the thing that you want manifesting in 3 months, it takes 3 years or it takes 30 years. And it literally is a function of the opposing intention and the resistance that you're experiencing. So a little side note in my book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life. If you haven't read Quiet Mind, Epic Life, please do that. But in the back of the book, I talk about the hidden motives to survive. And the hidden motives to survive are instincts that we have. So we have these things, there's like before language, they're this instinct, this impulse to be greedy, to hold a grudge, hatred, victim, illogical rules, humble, traitor, pride, resistance, lazy. These instincts, whenever these instinctive forms of resistance are present in your life, you slow down your manifestation process. In other words, you sort of mess up the conditions that would be conducive to what you want coming through, because what you want, like what is actually in your mind about the life that you want to live, is a thriving pursuit. But your instincts are survival pursuits. So you basically keep planting corn, but you're asking for wheat. You're planting resistance, but you're hoping for thriving, and it just doesn't really occur. Will you write down for me that manifesting is like hang gliding? Manifesting is like hang gliding. So you want to think of the creative energy of the universe as the gravity that is pulling you towards the earth. And you want to think of the circumstances of your life as the turbulence and the wind that is creating resistance. And your hang glider, the wing, is actually your perspective. So you're being pulled down, and there is all of this atmosphere. And so there's this pull down, it hits the atmosphere, and however you adjust your perspective is where you will go. So your hang glider is your perspective about life. Your outlook and your perspective controls the angle. If you change your perspective, you change your direction. Can you control gravity? No, you can't. Can you control the wind? You can't control the wind. Can you control your glider's relationship to both? Yes, you can. And that's what we're going to do. The force of gravity is pulling you towards the ground, whether you want to or not. And that creates the thrust as you fall to earth against the resistance of the wind. And all of a sudden, you have lift. And that lift means that you can surf the resistance and glide for hours. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to ask life to change. We're going to adjust the wing. We're going to adjust our perspective. Your perspective is the wing of your glider. Life is resistance, and that creative force is the pull. Write this down for me, please. The speed of my manifestation is determined by my perspective. The speed of my manifestation is determined by my perspective. I think I have Kristen coming in to talk to me.
Control to be able to move.
Okay, let me make you she says I need control in order to mute. Let me go. Okay. So let's see here. Kristen would like to have control so she could be muting people and things like that. So I'm going to go find her. Let's go. KRI. There she is. I see. Let's make her a co-host. Voila. It's official, Kristen Ferry. You are a co-host. All right. Thank you for that short little interlude of getting our system down over here. So the speed of your manifestation is determined by your perspective. And your perspective is about the contrast between the energy of the universe and your resistance to life. This, I'm telling you, you get this, it will blow the fucking lid off your manifestation. The perspective that you have is about the contrast of the energy of the universe coming through you. The energy of the universe, the creative force is coming through you. And then there's your resistance to life and how you orient your perspective to that contrast increases or decreases the speed at which you manifest. So don't step over this idea. Turbulence and resistance are extremely important parts of the manifesting equation. Really important. The creative force is destructive. And what you want will destroy what you have. So you're going to have to constantly be overcoming this inertia, this resistance to change, because change itself is not comfortable. So let's distinguish between using 8 steps and then using visualizing, and then let's get into a bunch of writing. So we're about to do a bunch of workshopping. Okay. So I want to start with this idea, because the 8-step manifesting process is distinct from visualizing, but visualizing is extremely valuable. It's something I do all the time. But for me, I use visualizing for something different. The 8-step process, for me, that's like about big life-altering results, changing conditions, whereas, simple manifesting, just like visualizing things like that the law of attraction people talk about a lot, that's really cool for small, insignificant things like parking spaces, favors, synchronicities, things like that. So manifesting, if you want to do the life-changing stuff, then you got to do the 8 steps. That's, in my book, that's what I've seen over and over and over. But the simple stuff is just visualize. So let's visualize right now. I just want us to get in the vibe of it. So I would love for you to visualize something right now. And my favorite thing to visualize when I'm reclaiming my confidence around visualizing or manifesting in that way is I like to visualize a blue butterfly. So can you just close your eyes with me right now? And can you see a blue butterfly in your mind? Just see it. Now, it's not hard for me because I've been talking about blue butterflies for so long, and people have given me tons and tons of blue butterfly things. So I literally have blue butterflies in my bathroom up in the mountains. I mean, I have blue butterflies everywhere. But for you, I want you to start to see that blue butterflies are going to start showing up for you. They're going to start popping up in all kinds of different formats. And so remember, it might be in the form of a picture or a woman's earrings or, like an actual butterfly or on a napkin or whatever, right? Some creative, cool way. It's just going to start to appear for you. And when it happens, when you do see the blue butterfly, then I want you to declare it complete. I want you to high five yourself, literally. And then I want you to visualize something else small and insignificant, something you're not attached to at all. And that's key, because detachment is a very important step in manifesting. When things are easy, when you don't really care, when it's like, whatever, that'd be cool, stuff comes fast. So I want you to see the blue butterfly in your mind. Then I want you to be alert and aware for the blue butterfly to be out there in the world. And I don't want you to make yourself wrong if it doesn't show up in the next week. Who doesn't matter. It's insignificant. All that you're doing is you're registering it in your consciousness, and then you're seeing that it will pop out in the world somewhere. And once it materializes, pick something else and just do it over and over. Do it over and over and over until we're done. Just like practice doing little small stuff. But when it comes to the big things, the 8 steps are the key. And I will say that there's one step that is really the most important, and then there's 8 steps that are very much about like creating conditions and conducive to alignment and trust and faith and allowing. So step 1 is to set your intention. You don't need to write these down. Step 1 is to set your intention. Step 2 is to keep doing what you're doing and give the gift. Step 3 is to release your attachment to how it is or how it's supposed to happen. Step 4 is to tell everyone what you're manifesting. Step 5 is to connect deeply with everyone, step over no one. Step 6 is to play the perfect game. Step 7 is to ride the waves. And then step 8 is to remember you always get what is perfect for your life. And you almost never get the exact thing that you're thinking about. Just write this idea. Everything I want is manifesting. There are no bad goals, just bad deadlines. There are no bad goals. There's just bad deadlines. Kristen and I thought about the Center for Rapid Enlightenment in 2013. When I say we, I really mean her. She got all the information settled with the state and the government and got our 501c3 done and opened up the bank accounts and did all that stuff. That all got done in 2019. But we didn't actually like get any energy or momentum around the Center for Rapid Enlightenment until the end of 2022. So there's no bad goals. It's just bad deadlines. The game is to stop resisting. So the first step of the 8-step manifesting process is to have the courage to ask. And people often say, well, why does it take courage? And the answer is because I want you to ask for stuff that you've been wanting to manifest your entire life. I want you to ask for stuff and manifest stuff that will change your life forever. I don't want you to manifest stupid shit like, I want more deals this year. Stop asking for such stupid stuff. That will not change your life. What's the stuff that will change your life? What's the stuff that will blow you away? Asking for that takes courage. Change is destructive. Change creates backlash. Change creates consequence. And this, my friends, is not about manifesting blue butterflies. It's about manifesting things that will have your life never be the same again. Now, a bunch of people in the Ignite Mastermind are on with us tonight, and we talk about this all the time. We say that really the game is to create quantum leaps in the most important areas of your life. So please hear me. Hear me when I say this. I'm asking you to make changes that are so positive, so profound, so all-encompassing that this moment right here becomes a turning point that you will remember for the rest of your life. That's what I'm asking for. So step 1 is to set your intention. And I want you to do that right now. Will you just write out 3 things, just 3 things that would change the course of your life forever if they started manifesting during this course? They may not manifest, but if they started manifesting during this course, it would change the trajectory of your life. Write them down right now, 3 of them. 3 things that will change the course of your life forever. Now, if you don't ask, you don't get. It's that simple. If you don't ask, you don't get. The most important step in the entire process is to ask, to clarify, to be specific, to be clear about what you want. But most people don't realize that what you want is actually an opposing intention. It's what the drunk monkey wants. Looking good, fitting in, being right, showing the world how great you are, demonstrating to the world that you're good enough, that you aren't a fraud, proving that you can accomplish something, being the head honcho, being the big cheese, right? These or all the different variations on those things. If you don't take the time to examine what you really, really want, then you will accidentally set intentions that oppose your most authentic desires. Each of us are setting intentions all the time. It's just not intentional. It's your instinctive drive to survive. And the instincts are very, very, very strong. So the hidden motives, they sneak into your intentions and they create opposition to your thriving intentions. So your survival intentions oppose your thriving intentions. Here's a way to know, okay? If your mind is chatty and busy, if your mind is sort of won't shut up, then you've accidentally declared something that is a survival intention, and it makes your mind go. So here's a little side note, okay? In the back of my book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life, 23 daily practices in the back. Do 1 per day, will you? Do 1 per day. Get the mind to start quieting down. It's going to help our process a lot. So we set unconscious intentions. And when those unconscious intentions show up, I don't know about you, but when they show up for me, it's like they blindside me and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I don't want this crap. Why am I feeling like this? Why is this stupid thing happening? Why is this falling apart? Right? It's like these malfunctions occur. And it's like, where did the law of attraction go when I needed it? Will you write this down? The law of attraction is just an excuse that I use to not tend to the garden of my quiet mind. Write it down, please. The law of attraction is an excuse I use to not tend to the garden of my quiet mind. The law of attraction has become the ultimate spiritual excuse. It's not the law of attraction. It's that you were not tending to your quiet mind, because when your mind is quiet, that means you have turned down or turned off the survival instincts. So they're not constantly coming up and opposing what you really want. What happens is you pin the blame on the law of attraction, but you're really dealing with your opposing intentions. Your survival mind wants to play the victim, which opposes your thriving mind that wants to create an amazing life. So it's like, it makes it even worse. But here's a couple of things I want you to think about. Accidental intentions, complaints are actually negative intentions, and they create opposition. Gossiping sets an intention. When you describe something that you don't want and it didn't go your way and you're lamenting it, that's setting an intention. Describing what you don't want is an intention. Trying to figure out why your life isn't the way you want it to be, that's an intention. Obsessing over things that went wrong sets your intention. You get what you obsess over. So look, you're manifesting all the time. Unfortunately, you're kind of doing it by default. And it's my job. I'm going to say it in this way, like, you paid me to make sure that you start being intentional about your intentions. So let's do something from the Enlightened Goal Setting Workshop called the Most Cherished Experience. This will help a lot. So review those 3 juicy intentions that you wrote down. And I want you to circle the most important one. Circle the most important one. Like, what is the most meaningful intention of the 3 that you wrote down? What's the most meaningful one? And then I want you to ask yourself this question and write down the answer, not the question. Write down the answer. What's important about manifesting that into your life? Write your answer, please. If you have your answer, then I want you to look at what you just wrote down and ask yourself this: what will all that do? So take it a level deeper. What will all that do? All that stuff you just wrote down. And now I want you to look at everything you wrote down. Look at everything you wrote down. And I want you to ask yourself this question. Ultimately, all that stuff happens, all of it. Ultimately, what does all of that do for you? Ultimately, what does it all do for you? Write down your answer. And then do me a favor. This will be our first time that I'm starting to say hello to everybody, but do me a favor and put it into the chat if that makes sense for you. My thinking would be that this should maybe be 2 or 3 or 4 words. Like, ultimately, what will all this do? It would make me feel, right? Brings freedom, peace, and joy. Joy, Christy says. So it's something in that zone. It's like highest level, personal fulfillment, freedom and joy, enjoy the experience of life, builds my epic life. But Jonathan, if it's building your epic life, what are you experiencing? What is the experience of building your epic life? That's what I want to know, right? My heart will be singing. And so it creates a calmness to be creative and joyful, makes me happy, heart-centered living. Love, joy, peace, comfort, stability. If you're doing family time, travel, fun, and events, Jonathan, ultimately, what does that do for you? What is the experience that we're talking about? Everybody get it dialed in to an experience that you want. Because that's what you want, Emily. You want an experience. All right. Very good. Thank you, everybody, for putting that in. So I want you to understand that from my perspective, after working with tens of thousands of people for 30 years now, I'd like to propose that if you just had that, you would be stoked. That experience is what you think the manifestation will give you. And I want you to just go back, because I want to see if there's any opposing intentions in here. Go back to that first thing that you circled, your first, the most important intention that you circled. And I want to ask you another question. Like, what is it about the experience that you're having now that makes you want that? That makes that your most important manifestation? Like, what is the contrast in your life now that makes you circle that and say, that is my ultimate thing that I am manifesting? Write some things down for me. So we're looking at the thing that you circled, your most important manifestation of this course. And you're asking yourself this question: what is it about the experience I'm having right now in my life that makes that the most important? Fear of death and not being around for my children, inconsistent business results and crazy schedule. See, if what you've written down as your most important manifestation is even just a subtle criticism of your current circumstances, you're expressing an opposing intention. And what happens is you continue to experience the contrast that made that intention important. In other words, focusing on the negative aspects of your current situation will attract more negativity, not because attraction is real, right? This is not bad, even what I'm talking about, because knowing what you don't want is actually one of the most powerful tools for figuring out what you do want. But the key here is to stop obsessing over what you don't have now, to stop resisting the situation, to stop resisting the life that you have, and to start being satisfied with what you have right now. Please write down let's call this the mantra for the week. Write down this idea: practice total and complete acceptance of my life, other people, and myself. Practice total and complete acceptance of my life, other people, and myself. See, my goal is to teach you how to be the person that you want to be in advance: satisfied, fulfilled, happy, at peace, loving life, whatever you just wrote down a minute ago. Because when you're fulfilled now, what you want comes quickly. When you're satisfied now, you don't need to even want it. When you don't need what you want, it comes easily. Being attached will slow things down. But sometimes being attached is good, and sometimes resisting is good. So we don't want to make those wrong either. Let's do an exercise where we play with resistance, okay? Because knowing what you want is, if we're being honest, it's a function of knowing what you don't want. So what you don't want tells you what you do want. And then I know you're like, Matthew, didn't you just tell me a minute ago that I can't focus on what I don't want? Yes, but it's not the focus, it's the resistance. It's not the focus, it's the resistance. So we're going to use contrast to your advantage here. We're going to accept the negative experience of life as perfect. We're going to accept the negative experiences of life as exactly what you need to clarify, learn, and to grow. Use negative experiences to your advantage versus resisting negative experiences and going into a victim mode. Negativity is an incredibly powerful learning tool. In fact, it's probably the most powerful learning tool. And most people are never taught how to use it. Most people resist failure, resist anger, resist stress, resist all of those things. The game is to actually go into a state of acceptance. So you know what you want by looking at what you don't want. The key is the contrast. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take, just on a piece of paper, on the left-hand side, write down what you don't want. And then on the right-hand side, write down what you do want. So just do that right now with your 3 intentions. Here's what I don't want. Here's what I do want. Let's write those down. It's going to be clarifying. So the game is to practice total and complete acceptance of all situations, all people, including yourself. It's a tall order, but it is imperative. And that's the 23 daily practices that I want you to do in the back of my book. If you resist what you don't want, it persists in your awareness and it gets stuck in your reality. And if you think about it, that's like one of the biological objectives of memory in the first place. Like, remember what is good and remember what is bad to navigate and to survive better. But resistance to what you don't want keeps it looping in your mind. That is called a grudge. And what you resist will persist. For example, for a long time, I was afraid of spiders, and my consciousness would be constantly searching for spiders, whether I wanted to or not. It would get stuck in my awareness, and then it would chew up mental real estate. So I'd be thinking about that instead of thinking about what I want. And yet, when I learned to accept the spiders exactly as they are and really honor and appreciate their place in the environment and in the world and in the ecosystem. When I did that, like when I really, really worked to face it and to accept it, my fear of spiders went away, which is good because I have a house up in the mountains and there's a lot of spiders there. And they don't really care that I don't want them in the house. So if you accept what you don't want, you transform it and you neutralize it, because what you accept will transform, and it transforms because it'll no longer be a threat. And when it's not a threat, then the drunk monkey doesn't need to hold on to it in order to avoid it. So it doesn't get stuck in your awareness. To protect yourself, you have to focus on it. You have to study it. So by focusing on what you don't want, you steer your life right in the direction of what you don't want. The game is to accept your current situation exactly as it is. So let's do some fear distinguishing right now. I want you to make some notes for me. What have you been afraid to ask for because you know it would be disruptive to the people around you, or it would disrupt the continuity of your current life? Just be honest. What have you been afraid to ask for? Amy, it's all good. Whatever you wrote down is perfect. I'm just taking you on an adventure.
Matthew, Maria has her hand up.
Excellent. Let's do, we're going to come to you, Malia, after I'm going to ask you a few questions and then we'll come to you. What have you been afraid to ask for? Because if you did, it would disrupt the people around you or it would disrupt your life. Here's another question to think about. What have you always wanted to do or create, but you've resigned yourself to doing it someday in the future, once everything else is handled? Another one I want you to ask yourself is, what have you been putting off doing for fear of failure, fear of being a loser, stupid, dumb, not good enough, maybe feeling inadequate? Malia, I'm going to take your question at the very end here, okay? Because we're on the home stretch. I got a few more things I want to talk about, and then I'll open up to some questions for everybody. Most people are actually afraid and timid in their asking. Thatch and I used to laugh. We would be driving around Seattle, enrolling people in our events and whatnot. And he would say, you know, Matthew, I'm working with my friends and I can't get them to ask for what they want. It's like, he says, it's like they walk up to the McDonald's counter and the clerk says, can I take your order? And then you look at them and you're like, Well, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a burger or fries or, I'm hungry, right? And the clerk will be like, okay, sir, can you please step out of line and come back in when you decide? Next customer, please. This is how most people are about their goals and dreams. Most people have had one too many negative experiences early on in their life, and now the drunk monkey is running the show rather than thriving, rather than going for it and asking for what you really want. We ask in a survival state. So I've got some suggestions here. I'm going to put the suggestions in, excuse me. I'm going to put the suggestions into the chat for you. And then, Kristen, can you load them into the GroupMe as well? Here they
Yeah,
come.
you betcha. In
Boom.
fact, I'm going to throw the link to join the GroupMe group in our chat. So if you haven't had a chance to come join us over in our private GroupMe group, click the link I'm about to put in the chat here and come over there and join us.
We use GroupMe for these kinds of events because it's not so distracting. You can create a group on Facebook, but there's just so much information coming at you. It's distracting. This is a specific place to go to do all things manifesting. So I want you to brainstorm all the things that you are manifesting, please, this week. Get them on paper. And then if you create a manifesting buddy, share with your manifesting buddy. The second thing that I'd love for you to do is to print out the instant manifestation checklist and read it every day. This is going to help you to get your opposing intentions worked out. It's going to help with clarity. Join the GroupMe if you haven't done that. Say hello to your fellow manifestation buddies. Maybe create a buddy in the group. For me, I like to write out my gems daily. This is just a way to focus. So gems are G for gratitude. So I write out some gratitudes, then E for experience, and experiences, typically it's my most cherished experience, the thing that you wrote down, like peace and joy and love and all of that stuff. Thank you, Tristan, for dropping the homework in there. And then M for manifesting. So your gems, gratitude, experience, and manifesting. Write them every day. Share them with your buddy if you can. Share them with the other people in your life if you can. And then 5, build some confidence, manifesting some small, insignificant stuff like the blue butterfly. So I want to open up now to questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, hallucinations, excitement, emotional overload. I'm going to, if you could raise your hand for me, please, then I'll go track it down. I think I'm going to track it down. We'll see. It's been a while since we've done a big Zoom call like this. I'm pulling you all out and putting you on my other screen over here where I can extend it. Okay, here we go. You can now show nonverbal. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so do we have any hands raised is the question, or am I missing it?
No, you're not missing it. Maria put her hand down, but Maria,
Okay,
if you want to put it back up, we'll jump right in there. No problem.
Good. Questions, concerns,
Oh,
comments, thoughts?
Roya literally has her hand up.
Okay, cool. I don't
like
have
it.
I'm not in that view, so I couldn't see it.
No, it's all good. So Roya just unmuted herself. Hi there.
What's
Hello.
up, Roya?
I'm so excited to be here, you guys. Thank you for doing this, Matthew and Kristen. This
Oh
is
my
awesome.
goodness.
So my question is, you just talked about GEM. I do every single day. What I do is G, gratitude, intentions, and delegations, which is from your time and Thatch.
That's right. Old school.
So then what is the difference between the two?
Well, the delegating part really came from the Esther Hicks part of the process. And for me, over time, I found that to be cumbersome. And I also found that it created separation. So it created like a duality, like There was me, the stupid clump over here, who then had to delegate something to the almighty thing over there that was clearly better than me, that would make things happen. And as my consciousness continued to go up and my mind got quieter and quieter and quieter, I wasn't able to distinguish any longer between what was being created and me. They were the same thing. And so I changed the language of the delegation, and I shifted it because I had transcended this idea of being small and insignificant and unimportant and not capable, and that I needed to delegate my ideas to something that was significant and better than me and capable. Does that make sense?
Yes, and
And-
so in that sense, where is the experience?
The
Is that your
experience is,
delegation?
it's what I'm committed to every day. So what I found for myself, these are great clarifiers. What I found for myself, Roya, was I wanted to start with gratitude because I just wanted to get connected to, oh my God, you know what? I'm already living a great life. Even when things suck, and there are definitely times when things suck, I'm already living a great life. Then especially when things suck, like, well, what do I want to be experiencing today? So it's like, there may be a whole bunch of problems and breakdowns that are occurring. How do I want to be experiencing my life today? That's where I write that. And so it might be joy or oneness or peace or flow or whatever. And then what am I manifesting? And what I find is I have my list of things that I'm manifesting, like my, sort of main goal list. Typically what goes into my gems is like, what's the next thing that I'm like, what's the next thing in that progress? Like in the Center for Rapid Enlightenment, the vision for the Center for Rapid Enlightenment is 40 years out, Roya. So like, I'm not manifesting the thing that's 40 years out. I'm manifesting like, what's the thing that I need today
Right,
in order to do that? I hope that clarified it for you.
perfectly, thank you.
Awesome. Good. I think Maria has her hand up. Maria, why don't you unmute yourself and jump back in? Roya, why don't you mute yourself? Perfect.
Yes, halfway through the writing, I didn't get the full statement. It said the law of attraction is just an excuse I use to not tend to my
Quiet mind. Thank you for clarifying that. In other words, the law of attraction is just something that we labeled to try and explain something that at this moment is unexplainable. And we know it's unexplainable. Like if you ask an artist, like, where did the idea for that painting come from? They'll be like, I don't know. If we ask Roya, where did the idea for your children's book come from? She'd be like, I just like one day it just was there and then I had it. And then it took me like 9 years to like get it out of my head and put it on paper and get it out there.
Yep, meditation, it came from my meditation, isn't that
Exactly. And what was your meditation? It was like intentionally getting all the junk to quiet down so you could be connected to the creative force coming through.
Yeah.
It's so important for all of us to remember, you're not manifesting anything. You are what is being manifested. So if you are what is being manifested, you could chill the fuck out. You don't have to get all worried about it. What you want is coming through. The question becomes, can you get into a groovy, awesome state and be in inspired action? And the answer is, over these next 8 weeks, yes, you're going to get there. Who else?
Kevin's unmuted. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Mr. Walt, welcome.
Kevin! Good to see you, buddy.
I've got a quiet mind.
Yes,
Yay.
yes, you do. Because we have done a lot of work, my friend.
Yes.
Really proud of you. Good. And so you just wanted to report. My mind is quiet.
Right, exactly.
Hot
I
damn,
love
dude.
it.
Well,
All right, let me see if there's anybody else unmuted. Anybody else want to hold up their hand? Give me a wave. Raymond, is that an official? I want to jump in, my friend. Oh, no, we just got somebody hanging out next to you reading a book. Gotcha. All right, I'm scanning.
well, there's someone who
so
has
many-
a hand just went up, it looked like.
Where? Who did it?
Oh, then it went down. I don't know.
Hang on. There's so many faces I love to see. It's been a while since we've done this. All right. I'm
It's been a
switching
while since we've had
screens.
this many people on.
Holy cow. No kidding. All right. I see Ken's happy face. I mean, I see everybody. This is so fabulous. I think we're good. I don't think
All
I
right, cool.
missed anybody.
Jonathan has his hand up.
Where's Jonathan?
Jonathan, jump in. Unmute Jonathan and just jump in.
Yep, do it.
Okay, I've got a question. I'm trying to figure out, I know this is weird. How do I set my goals wrong? You started off and you said, I can't say more deals. In fact, Kristen, I believe that's what you typed in.
That's
You
what I
can't
said.
say
Please,
more.
no, I begged you. Please, no more deals. Yes.
Here's the deal, Jonathan.
Yeah.
What we could say is that more deals is about creating a set of conditions that you really want. And what I would start to ask myself is like, well, what's important about more deals? And then what you're going to find is like the deals are really just something that provides you with that thing, this experience, right? There's all these things that shoot off of it.
Yep.
And what I find is, especially for us entrepreneurs, because I'm like you, like I got to make sales and do all of that stuff to have my life work. And so what I find is if we get focused on what we actually want, then it's we don't stop having an intention for doing more deals, like then your life stops. But if we get really focused on these intentions that come off of the deals, what you'll find is you're much more at ease in the process of doing the deals because you're shooting for something that has way more meaning. Doing a deal is meaningless. It's meaningless and oftentimes painful and aggravating. And so what you'll find is so many opposing intentions wrapped up in doing more deals, so much survival there. And if we can say, okay, well, I want to do 40 deals, but what is that really going to provide for me? Like, what am I really shooting for?
That's right.
And start going for the stuff that you really are shooting for. Like in this game that we're playing, go for that stuff. Don't stop being a practical and pragmatic business person. Like, I want you to do that. But I also want you to be a creative individual, Jonathan, who is saying like, I'm practical and pragmatic here, but what am I creating? Like, what is the life that I am working on? And get all of these offshoots going. And what you'll find is these have so much meaning and so much joy when you start to play around and give yourself permission here. It makes this survivally sort of greed and fear-based deal making just easier to do. You're just in a better place when you do that. And Landmark Education used to do something so interesting. When you would do their leadership program, they would have you take on a project of contribution. And the craziest shit would happen. You're going after this contribution thing, which has no benefit to you at all. And yet everything in your life accelerates because of who you're being over here. So I want you to kind of think in that regard. Thank you for clarifying that. That's really, really important.
And I want to just I want to add one little piece to that, Jonathan, because I say it playfully, but there's actually a reason why I would say no more deals, which is this. In my experience, it's a cover up. It means something to each of us when we want to do more business, but it's like the way that we stop and then we don't go underneath it to actually articulate what that level of prosperity would mean. And so when I've let go of like what the big numbers are and I get connected to what I really want is I want to work less. I want to have more abundance. For me, it's about, I love having financial systems that work. I want more time to paint and be in my studio. So the do more is usually a cover up for the actual thing that we want to express. And if we take the time to articulate what we want to experience and what we want to, how we want to express ourselves as people, then we speed up the process.
I want to take it one level deeper, Jonathan. Kristen really challenged me a few years ago. And her challenge was like, really? We're just gonna fucking make more money. Like, this is what we're doing. And I was like, I'm Mike Ferry's son. Of course, that's what we're doing. Right? We're making more money. And we really worked on it. We really asked the questions. We really did the enlightened goal setting workshop, like over and over and over. And it did take over and over and over to deprogram so much of what I had been programmed to do. But in the end, we decided that what we really wanted to do was to make the exact same amount of money, but do it working 6 days a month. And Jonathan, I will tell you that I am now working 6 days a month, meaning my time trade, like dollars for time, is 6 days a month. And all I get to do on all the, I love to do stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love to create things. This class came out of the freedom that occurred when I turned it on its ear, and really Kristen turned it on its ear, and said, like, if we did the same amount of money, but we only did it in 6 days, then what would you do with your time? And what I would do with my time, I just want you to know, I am so nerdy about this kind of thing, like teaching these kinds of things is like my favorite thing to do. Creating the center, oh my God, it's so exciting. But that's not going to make me any money. So I want you to know, doing this class and selling to most people for $295, it's not a big money maker, but it is a huge joy creator for me. And so start to turn it on its ear, see if you can break it apart. Be contrarian. Don't be afraid to ask for wacky, wild, crazy stuff, and then ride the waves as they come, because we never know what's going to happen. But if you have the courage to ask, it's going to be awesome. Who else? Anybody? Anyone? Bueller?
Hang on, let me look. Oh, Ali, jump in there, my friend. There he is.
Happy to be part of this. Hello, everyone. All new to the group here. No, we're just expressing hallucinations we might have. And one of the hallucinations I have, I lost my father 5 years ago, and he was 53 years old. And I'm 31, and I have this hallucination that my cap is going to be 53. So I always find this need to have to go, where I don't stop to give myself grace. I'm constantly, and which in turn causes me to overthink. So one of the things I wrote down here when he asked, like, hey, what am I afraid to ask? Like, is this normal? I get afraid to ask that sometimes. Is this thinking normal? And
I don't know.
Like to ask because I don't want to bring other people's energy down sometimes.
I don't think it brings anybody's energy down. So so first of all, I don't know if it's normal, but it's more.
Wait, I'm going to just clarify. Being concerned about your lifespan at 53, is that normal? Is that the question?
Yeah, I guess. Is that a normal way of thinking?
I just want you to know, I've actually met many people who have had that experience. My stepfather was one of them. His father died at 40.
Mine as well.
Yeah, it's very common in men.
Yeah.
Very common in men to see what happened with their fathers, and then to almost like predetermine that you're on a similar path just because it's like tied to the genetics or something. So yeah, I think it's a common concern. I've heard it from many men.
Here's what I would do immediately. I would go on a slander campaign with the Drunk Monkey myself. And I learned this from one of my mentors, a man named Stuart Wilde. And if you've never read the book, Infinite Self by Stuart Wilde, I highly recommend it. But I would do the audio versus the book because he's so damn funny. But Stu basically said,
He has an amazing accent. It's such a great book. Thank you. I'm going to reread it.
Such a great book. Stu basically said anything that you're afraid of, you just like go after it. You disprove the lies of the drunk monkey. And Ali, what there might be to do for you is to begin to study what is happening in longevity. So I don't know if you know this, Ali, but the current prediction by the smartest people in the world in medicine is that in 2050, we will achieve longevity escape velocity, which means every year that you are alive, your life will be extended greater than 1 year. Now, I think that my business is going to do phenomenal because people are going to be fucking miserable. But I will tell, but I will tell you, for you, it might bring you a lot of peace. It might bring you a lot of peace to know that for you, the likelihood right now, it's likely that every year that you're alive, that your life is being extended by a quarter of a year. That's the current stat. So maybe go on a slander campaign and start busting the drunk monkey on its insanity. And what if you just set an intention? So I set an intention to live to be 120. Kristen is 2 years younger than me, so she said she's going to live to be 118, because at 118, she says, I don't want to be around if you're not going to be around. So we just set an intention for how long we want to live, and then we play around with optimizing ourselves to see, can we like play into that intention? Can we live in an optimal fashion? And I will say that, both of us aren't very good at it, but we're still like, it's our intention.
Very good stuff. Thank you.
You betcha.
I'm gonna suggest, frankly, anybody who's interested in this topic is start following Peter Diamandis. Mind blowing.
Can we put a link into his?
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up. Him
yeah.
and Kurzweil. So just give me a half a second. The other thing that occurred to me, Ellie, as you're dancing with this, is what if you started making some plans for what you're going to do in your 60s, your 70s, and your 80s, and just be effing bold about it, dude. Like, I'm retiring at 50, and by 60, I've already gone around the world, and I'm going to see every single country that there is, and just like be
bold.
Just go out into the future, be bold. I've got 12 grandkids, and I take one of them a month on a trip around the world, and get loony about it. Yes, sir. Okay, I'm putting Diamandis in, and then we're gonna do Kurzweil next, guys.
All right, good. And then Tristan has his hand raised. Tristan, can you just jump in?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to read books for anybody, particularly Stuart Wilde or other books by American authors put in a British accent.
Yes.
We should have you read Quiet Mind. Oh my God, that I never even crossed my mind. That's so great.
Yeah, we'll have the British accent
version.
Yep,
Yeah, I love
exactly. Awesome.
Matthew, before we let everybody, you have to do the impression of when you went and took all your clients to Stuart Wilde, because you just shared it with me last week.
My
and I about fell off my chair. So this is a little X-rated, everybody. So plug your ears. If
Stuart Wilde is a contrarian. Is unconventional. And I was maybe 24, 25 years old or something. And I was leading a workshop with 300 or 400 real estate agents up in the San Francisco area. And I found out that Stuart Wilde was speaking in the city, and I told a few people I was going. And then next thing I know, I had like 30 people were coming with me to go see Stuart Wilde. And we didn't know what to expect, but we're all sitting in the front row. And Stuart, I don't know, this has got to be like 1998 or something like that. Stuart Wilde comes out. He has a DJ playing. First of all, nobody had DJs playing when they were giving seminars back in the 90s, but Stuart Wilde did. So he has his DJ is playing, some loungy, cool music. He comes out. He's got a glass of wine. He's smoking a cigarette in the hotel, in the ballroom, on stage. He walks out and he just looks at us and he's like, you fucking Americans, you're so uptight. It's like you've got carrots shoved up your ass and your sphincter is so tight. You know, when you die, you're finally going to relax and there's going to be carrots growing all over your grave. This was his opening line. That was his, I was like,
You're like, that is the spiritual teacher for me.
I loved it. But I will say half my clients walked out immediately. Anyway, my friends, I'm excited we're on this journey together. Get into Group Me. Let's chat and hang out and rap about manifestation. I'm going to go get some food and hang around with my family and kids and whatnot. Looking forward to talking to you next week. Reach out if you need any support from us. We're here for you, okay?
Thanks,
Thanks.
Matthew.
Have a good
Bye,
one, everybody.
everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
See
You're
y'all
welcome.
soon.
Enjoy. See you next week.